Today I'm with John Seasland, who is a candidate for an open seat of circuit judge in Houston, Henry County. I appreciate you taking time to sit down with us today.
Thank you for having me, Ricky.
You're a practicing attorney here in the 20th Judicial Circuit of Houston, Henry County, and have been for a number of years. What made you decide to run for circuit judge?
Well, the main thing is, to sum it up, is I felt like I could have a little bit better impact on the legal community and this community at large if I'm fortunate enough to become circuit judge. Now, what caused me to start thinking about that is, as a young lawyer, practicing law, handling different types of cases. As a young lawyer, you get a little obsessed. You want to win your case, do your best for your particular client in that particular case. And sometimes you're not taking a step back and thinking at a little bigger picture on what kind of impact you can have, or you're using your skill set the best way to have or achieve that impact that you think you can have. And really it boils down to my family. I've got 5 children. Oldest one is 7. And as I started, it didn't necessarily happen with the first kid or second kid, but as my family grew, I started to develop a lot of perspective about life. Where you take a step back and you think about what impact do the lawyers have, what impact do the judges have, what impact do the law enforcement have, that type of thing as a whole on the community. And I'll be honest with you, I like what I do and I enjoy doing it. I'm good at what I do as far as practicing law, but that perspective that having a family brought to me really was that I think I can have a better impact on the legal community and the community at large by being circuit judge. That was the driving force behind it.
How do you think you can make a difference over where some of the judges in the past? What do you feel as a judge that you can do to make a difference?
Well, I think not the better way to answer that question. One way to answer that question, though, is I think right now our bench here, the 20th Judicial Circuit, has fantastic judges. Now, I've been fortunate enough to practice law in Louisiana, Florida, and Alabama. I'm licensed to practice in all 3 of those states. I've tried jury trials in Georgia. So that's 4 states right there that I have been involved with fairly intimately in the legal community and seen how different circuits have run. I've been a number of circuits in this state. I've been around handling cases. And I can tell you, I think our circuit is run better or as good as any of those other circuits. I'd put it up against any of them. Now, can you look at particular issues and say, hey, I think I can carve out a little better way to handle this one? Yeah, but overall it's run that well, so my goal is to take it. And I believe Judge Conaway, who's the current judge, does a fantastic job along with the other circuit judges and district judges in this circuit. But I think you build upon what they've been doing, okay? And then you use your particular skill set or your particular view on certain things to maybe carve out a niche where you can do things better. And in that regard, one of the key things that everybody always talks about is how you're going to deal with the drug abuse and drug addiction, alcohol addiction that comes through the court system. I think Judge Conaway has done some very good things, just like all the other judges, and I just want to build upon that, working intimately with the court referral specter care, the drug counselors, and working with work release, working with the probation officers, try to figure out a way to lighten the load on our jail system with people with pure addictions, and I think we can continue on that front. It's already been doing a good job by this circuit. So it's not about coming in and trying to make some whole radical change. I really think that this circuit's on a very good path.
What makes you the most qualified to be the judge?
I don't think when you're running for a judicial race that I want to point out, I'm just more qualified than the other person. I don't know if that's the right way to go about doing that in a judicial race. I can pose what my qualifications are, and then the voter can decide, hey, we put more emphasis on this qualification than others. I will tell you, I have a lot of jury trial experience, and in my opinion, and I believe most would agree, that one of the cornerstones of our judicial system is the right to a jury trial. And within that, fair and impartial jury trial presided over by a judge that's unbiased and that will apply the law equally to both sides and fairly. That's the cornerstone of our judicial process, is that right to a jury trial. And I've tried over 100 jury trials in 3 states. I've participated in jury trials. I've tried probably 90 of those here in this circuit. And I feel like I'm very comfortable in that atmosphere. And when I say that, sometimes people don't realize that jury trial is a very stressful event, both for the lawyers involved, for the judge, the jury, the litigants before them, either criminally or civilly. And things move a lot faster than you think in real life. It doesn't work like it is on TV. Things move fast. Things can go wrong quickly. There's a lot of tension involved, a lot of emotion involved, and you can lose track of things quickly in a jury trial, simply as an attorney, very, very much so as the judge. One wrong ruling can lead to a second, or a rushed ruling can lead to a second rushed ruling, and all of a sudden that person before you or the parties before you have not received that fair trial. And that is very important, and you need experience, I believe, to preside, take the bench and preside over a jury trial, be comfortable that you're doing things correctly and being able to focus on doing things correctly rather than get a little lost in the speed of things. So that's one thing on why I believe I'm qualified. A second one would be demeanor, and this is in no particular order going forward. Demeanor, that's very important for a lot of people. I think if you ask attorneys or litigants to go before a judge, what's the demeanor of the judge that you're going before? And where that comes into play, that can be, that can be both patience and leadership, where, particularly for patience, you want people to walk away thinking they've had their fair hearing, meaning the judge patiently listened to their argument, listened to their testimony, listened to whatever they were presenting, and that they walk away, they may not like the ruling, but they walk away knowing that they've had a chance to say their piece, chance to make their argument, and feel like the judge was patient and fair to them. And along that, I have 5 children, the oldest which is 7. So I practice that every single day, although I think if you ask other attorneys and or judges, I think they see that play out in my practice as well, and how I deal with the clients, is how I deal with members of the district attorney's office, members of the other side of the counsel on the other side, how I interact with the judges and the court personnel. I feel like I practice that daily, and they can see that, and I believe I won't have any problem taking that to the bench, because that's just kind of part of what I've of how I carry myself. So those are 2 main things. Leadership is another thing. It goes without question, the judge is the leader. Obviously, he's the judge in the courtroom. That's who in control. That's who makes the decision. But you don't want that to just be anointed to you. Okay, you have to also have leadership skills where the litigants before you and the people that come before you, the jurors, the witnesses, they recognize that quality in you. I'll go back to in college. I had a passion for basketball growing up, and I was fortunate enough to get a scholarship to play college basketball. Played on very successful teams, won championships, had a lot of success. I was not the best player on that team by far, but my coach had me be the team captain as a junior and a senior. People go, oh, it's just sports, that's no big deal. I was the team captain in high school. In college, it's a much bigger deal. You've got a lot at stake for people. And I was the only one in 35 years of his Hall of Fame coaching career that he had to be a captain back-to-back years. And it wasn't because I was the best player. It's because he recognized character traits in me, and he saw how my teammates responded to me, that I could get them all on one page, a lot of egos, a lot of motivational issues, lots of things that go on where that captain was relied upon keeping that team kind of in check, keeping everybody moving forward to a goal, keeping everybody on the same page. Maybe patting down some discord that can develop before the coach has to step in. And he recognized I was able to do that and tasked me with captain for 2 years. We won 2 championships during that time. And I'll say the reason, even though it was a long time ago, he recognized those qualities. They're the same qualities I've taken over, it's just how I lead my life, but this is the qualities I've taken over with me when I practice law, how I deal with clients, how I run my law practice. And I think the other lawyers and people around the courthouse recognize that. And again, I think that's a good quality to look at when you're looking at what qualifications one has to be a circuit judge.
I disagree with you on your basketball
Yes.
ability, because all I've ever heard is John and basketball and how good a player you were.
Thank you, Ricky.
But with that in mind, and how do you feel like you will relate to the common people that come before the court?
Sure.
That is before the judge, because it's a scary thing to start off with when you're standing before a judge.
Absolutely, because a lot of people have never been before a judge. As attorneys, you as the bondsman, other professional witnesses, law enforcement, we're used to being in the courtroom, depending on what type of law practice, every day. It just is what it is and what you do, and you deal with it. A lot of people are very intimidated when they come to court. They're scared for good or no reason at all. They're anxious. They're uncomfortable. It runs the gamut of all the emotions they might experience when they come there. And so you definitely want someone that thinks they're walking in and understands, and they believe and think and they will get a fair shot, you know, something that's more of a calming presence for them. And I believe I mean, I think that anybody that knows me knows how I conduct myself, how I interact with people. As far as what you could look at from my past that would show, hey, and I don't think it's the common man, it's just the average person, the average citizen that comes before you. Listen, I grew up around here. I grew up at the Boys and Girls Club under Charlie Camp. Had a big impact on my life. Dale Bynum, Philip Gilly were also directors there. And you know, from about 6 to 12, I spent countless hours, days, just weekends, after school. Grew up there, developed close friendships that still last to this day. Developed a passion for basketball, like you mentioned. I grew up at Westgate Rec Center, Wiregrass Rec Center, Doug 2 Rec Center, playing pickup ball at Walton Park before there was even a rec center there. You know, those were places I grew up and spent my weekends. You know, just, you know, hundreds, if not 1,000 hours at those rec centers playing basketball, and still have friends that I see that remember me from playing there, that I grew up, spent my high school years growing up there. So, I mean, I just think that's just part of my everyday life and my experiences growing up into an adult of treating everybody fair. I don't, you know, I wouldn't, and I don't, you know, in any way, shape, or form approach someone as a common man versus something different. That's just the way I treat people. Every client I treat that way. And again, I think if you ask around to attorneys or courthouse personnel or people that see that interaction, I think they would recognize that and say that. I hope they would, because that's certainly been my intention during my career.
In closing, is there anything that you want to say to the viewers about the election, or anything in closing?
No, I mean, I think just do your research, you know, ask around, ask any attorneys they may not know what different qualifications might be important to them as counsel, who they think, or not who they think, just what qualifications they think a circuit judge should have. And then just weigh that with how you feel and the research they've done. And in the end, I just ask that they consider supporting me June 5th in the Republican primary for circuit judge, Henry and Houston County.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that all right?